Hello and welcome back to the class of 5G. We are discussing 2G and we have seen digital communication, cellular approach and multiple access. Now it's time to talk about the elephant in the room, the security in 2G. And to fulfill the intended promises on security, the approach was all about housing the sensitive data in a module in a way that it remains non-exclusive to the device manufacturer or mobile device manufacturer, and it also remains always accessible to the user. In other words, it was all about decoupling the mobile network service provider and the device manufacturer. Even if the service provider was down for some reason, the consumer could use someone else's service, and all of this while making sure that his security is not compromised. To do that, a small storage chip was introduced called SIM or Subscriber Identity Module. It contained a lot of sensitive information like International Mobile Subscriber Identity, short form IMSI, which was a result of making global mobile user database unified and getting rid of problems like false identities. Then SIM contained unique serial number for the SIM itself, a PIN number dedicated to SIM, key to unlock the IMSI information, location area identity to identify which area is local to the SIM and which falls under the roaming section, and finally a few emergency contacts. And this was just the beginning. Over time, the storage capacity of SIM grew higher and the size grew smaller, so it could contain even more information, like more contacts. In terms of transmission, mobile phones were now not just sending a stream of data with a PIN or an RF fingerprint. They were sending SIM information along with compressed and encrypted user data, which means the user message, service provider information, recipient information, and timestamp. All of these things made filtering targeted consumer a lot easier and having faulty receipts less likely to happen. All of this information was digital, which means the phone was still only transmitting zeros and ones. And believe it or not, this whole chunk of information was still smaller than the analog chunk of user information and RF fingerprint alone. This paved way for a lot of mobile services like calls, SMS, which stand for short messaging services, picture messages. Remember those black and white dots which used to create some pictures? Well, that's what we are talking about. MMS service, interactive caller tones, and primary web browsing. And this was not a small feat. From being just a facility or a utility to access, mobile phones were becoming a culture, a habit of mankind. They were staying in the pockets all day, every day. And the humanity was growing around the cell phones. They were becoming the primary way of communication. And telecom giants knew what this meant. Major companies like AT&T and Verizon in USA, Airtel in India, and Vodafone in Germany and Australia made sure not to hold back when it comes to investment for 2G. And that was just the beginning. 2G had began a journey of global dominance through cell phones. We can throw more light on it by summarizing it. Trivially, 2G is the second generation of wireless communication. It is the first fully adapted cellular network with digital transmission and reception. This answers one more question. Why did we cover cellular approach in 2G and not in 1G? Was there no cells prior to 2G? Well, in some cases they were, but they were never fully adapted. 2G was the technology which widespread the adoption of digital transmission reception and cellular networks. The signal transmission and reception, of course, mostly relied on a combination of TDMA and FDMA, which means a hybrid, at mostly 900 to 1800 MHz. This was also called GSM, which stands for Global System for Mobile Communication. The name itself suggests that the scope is not regional, it is global. 2G enabled a lot of extra services just as we saw earlier, like multimedia, SMS, and primary web browsing through GPRS. 2G started in 1992 and was spread across more than 150 countries, with most of the countries having more than one carrier. This matters a lot because having more than one carrier always keeps everyone on toes in terms of competition. They know they can lose out, so they will always keep the quality of service in check. This was a major development compared to 1G. So with GSM and GPRS, 2G had literally achieved a lot, and it was also a lot cheaper than 1G. I still remember first generation service providers charging for incoming and outgoing services simultaneously, as well as call rates being sky high. That was changed by 2G. It was accessible to all, it was affordable to all. So, was 2G perfect? Well, we will answer that question in the next lecture. Till then, happy learning, and I hope you have a great day.